As you move through your raw material self-assessments, you'll likely come across some traits, attributes, or activities that you definitely would not classify as strengths, and probably wouldn't feel comfortable classifying as potential strengths either. Some researchers and consultants refer to these as weaknesses, while others try to avoid that terminology and euphemistically call them areas for improvement or areas for growth. Quite often, they're just plain faults or bad habits. Some of these might be procrastination, laziness, impatience, disorganization, lack of follow-up, lack of focus, having a short temper, being too talkative, fear of confrontation, or being easily distracted, maybe too much social media or watching TV. Typically, these are not raw materials that you would want to disclose to other people, and especially not to a potential employer. Yet it's critical for you to acknowledge them and understand them so that you can consider them in your quest to develop the product that will be the most marketable. While some personal growth professionals claim that you should not spend any time at all trying to fix or improve these faults or bad habits, the truth is that these negative traits or attributes could easily overpower your set of strengths, depending on your position or your industry. For example, let's say that you're great at solving technical problems, but you're consistently late to work or you anger easily when people interrupt you. Eventually, your employers and coworkers most likely will start to discount the value of your technical problem-solving skills, as well as many of your other positive skills, because of the serious negative impact of your faults. And that's why it's important to consider how you can remedy faults and bad habits, or at least get them under control so that they don't derail your efforts to showcase your strengths. Or maybe you can compensate for your faults and bad habits, your so-called weaknesses, by having someone else take over the parts of your job or activities that are affected by them. Making your strengths stronger without correcting or dealing with key weaknesses, faults, or bad habits will be meaningless if your negative attributes outweigh your positive attributes in the minds of your bosses or coworkers or customers or friends. Let me say that again. Making your strengths stronger without correcting or dealing with key weaknesses, faults, or bad habits will be meaningless if your negative attributes outweigh your positive attributes in the minds of others. Assessing your faults and bad habits is one of the most difficult, or at least one of the most uncomfortable parts of conducting a personal raw materials assessment. Doing this requires you to be open to criticism, to be introspective and honest with yourself, and have a positive attitude toward your ability to overcome the challenges that your faults and bad habits create. Some questions to assess your faults and bad habits are: in what areas of your life do you sometimes receive complaints or criticisms? What attributes or habits seem to slow down your progress on tasks? What habits or traits would you rather hide from others? What aspects of your work are prone to embarrass you? And what about your work performance adds to your feelings of insecurity or detracts from your feelings of competence? Finally, as you should have done for the previous videos on assessing current strengths and potential strengths, you should ask your friends and relatives, your bosses and coworkers, what they think are your most relevant faults and bad habits. And when you do, ask them to be completely honest with you, and then evaluate how accurate you believe their assessments are. It's critical that you seek feedback from others for this category of raw materials because people are often bad judges of their own faults. When you're done answering the previous questions and soliciting feedback from others, your goal should be to be able to write down a list of key faults or bad habits that could negatively impact your personal and professional brands. Also, be sure to watch the next video in this series, which addresses how to evaluate your interests, desires, and passions, all of which serve to motivate your behaviors. Thanks for watching.